All right, Brooklyn Cougars, welcome. This week we're going to start with an instant activity. So you will see that each week the instant activity changes. This one is the Bop It Challenge. You could take a paper, crumple it up. You can take a tennis ball or a rolled up sock and see how many times you could hit it in the air. Do not be surprised that we start doing these at the beginning of class. Today you're going to identify the benefits of warming up and cooling down. You're going to calculate your heart rate, your resting heart rate versus heart rate, and you're actually going to go through a heart rate activity. First thing we're going to do in class is read this article called Stretching. And three questions we focus on are: what are the four benefits of warming up? What are the three benefits of cooling down? What is static stretching versus dynamic stretching? You can actually click on the little picture here and it will pull up the stretching article itself. However, once you get through that article, let's see if we can answer some of these questions. The four benefits of warming up are actually it increases your heart rate and respiratory rate, increases your muscle temperature, and boosts the amount of blood and oxygen delivered to your muscle. So if you look at the bottom, overall, warming up prepares your body for a workout. So notice that the words highlighted: increases, boosts. This is getting you prepared for warming up. So as a child and as a kid, you don't need to warm up as much, about 5 minutes, but the older you get, the longer you need to warm up. There are also phases to exercising called the cool down, and three benefits that we talk about are: it slows your heart rate and breathing, reduces the chance of feeling dizzy or lightheaded, and if you look down at the bottom there in yellow, really what you're doing is slow, reduce, and getting to a relaxed state. So you warm up to get your heart rate up, get ready for the exercise, you exercise, and then you cool down to bring the heart rate down to get you back to your resting, relaxed heart rate. The article talks about dynamic and static stretching, and these are really important in your warm-up and your cool down. I recommend you do both, but static stretching is when you just hold the stretch and it's for amount of time. So for example, in elementary school, middle school, you remember sit and reach. It looks like that photo at the top. That is what we call a static stretch, and it's just stretching, like stretching the muscle, and that's it. There's no movement. Dynamic stretching is when you do slow movements to prepare your muscles for exercise. So you want to do static stretches and then move to dynamic stretches to get that heart rate up and to get those muscles warm. This example of a leg dynamic stretch is what we call like donkey kicks on the wall, where you put your hand on the wall and you start kicking your leg up and down, and it starts to warm that muscle up. Today, you're going to calculate your resting heart rate, and how you do that is two ways. You can use the radial pulse, which is your wrist, or you can use the carotid artery under your neck, and you're waiting to feel that pulse, that beat. And when you do, you want to count how many times it beats for 6 seconds. So you can actually go into like Google and put in like a countdown timer, and when you click start, you can count to yourself, and when it hits 6 seconds, just stop. So for example, if I started counting right now, stop, my heart beat 7 times. So I would actually, if you look at step 3, have to add a 0 to the end of it, and my resting heart rate right now is 70. Okay. When it comes to target heart rate, you see this little chart at the bottom. You need to find your age, and this is how many times you want your heart beating per minute when you are exercising. Okay, so if you're 14, after warming up, you want your heart to beat between 128 to 168 times. That means you are starting to exercise your heart, strengthen your heart to keep it healthy. So my resting heart rate is 70. If I was 14, I would need to, when I start exercising, try to keep my heart rate between 128 to 168. Again, there's that heart rate chart. It looks different for different age groups. Today, you're going to complete an activity where you perform the activity that we tell you to for 45 seconds. Immediately after, you take that pulse for 6 seconds, add a 0 to the end, and then you record. Some of those activities that you'll see today, you're going to start with lying down. And I actually left you a timer clock here on the slide, so if you need it, it's there. You're going to move to sitting on the floor, standing still. Remember, you got to do these for 45 seconds, so do the whole time, then take your pulse for 6. Stretch your shoulders, push-ups or modified push-ups. You're going to do some curl-ups today. Slow walk in place, alternating lunges, fast walk or a power walk. You're going to do a jog in a place, line jumps where you go forward, backwards, or side to side, jumping jacks, quick feet. And again, 45 seconds on, immediately after that exercise, take your pause for 6, add a 0 to the end. Now, what you're going to do is you have to go to My MCPS Classroom, and right below this video, you're going to see this button here, Next. If you click Next, it's going to take you to that heart rate document. And these are the exercises we're going to ask you to complete. Remember, when you're done, please click the submit button at the top. It's not on my screen because my screen is different as the teacher, but don't share it with me. If you hit submit, I get all my students' work in one place instead of going to my Gmail. But let's take a look at this document. Why I can't find it, there we go. And take a look at this document. So it's the same thing that you saw on the slides. You're gonna lie down for 45 seconds, check your heart rate for 6, add a 0 at the end. You're gonna sit on the floor, stand still, shoulder stretch, do everything they ask and write your response right there where those little blank lines are. However, at the end, there's some questions asked. Which activity resulted in the highest beats per minute? So whatever activity has the highest number, which raises your heart rate, you wanna write it here. So give me one activity. Which activity resulted in the lowest heart rate? Which activity gave you the lowest heart rate? Find that low number, put it right here under number 2. Look at the target heart rate chart. Find your age and tell me what is your target heart rate. It should be between 2 numbers, a low number and a higher number. That means 65% to 85%. And then which activities allowed you to reach your target heart rate? List all of them. It's definitely going to be more than one. When you're done with this document, you click submit and you have completed your work for the week. Okay? Have a great day. I'll see you next week.